Good evening, my name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rock.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selena, I'm from Tavenga-Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news, high-profile rape trial begins. TC Ella remains erratic north of Fiji. And Fiji Sugar Corporation plans mill improvements.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spade.
Alleged serial rapist and murderer Choso Dolonandolu showed no mercy when he killed 14-year-old Mere Alievu in Dyumba last year after allegedly abducting and raping her. Dolonandolu's trial began in the Suva High Court this afternoon, with pathologist Dr. James Kalonivaki detailing how brutally the victim was murdered. Shireen Shivan reports.
Mere Alievu was reported missing on 13th March 2016. A day later, her body was found at a beach in Lepanoni, Deumba, and 2 weeks later, Joshua Dolonandolu was arrested and was charged with 6 counts of rape, 4 counts of abduction, 1 count of indecent assault, and 1 count of murder. The head of forensics pathology at the Fiji Police Force, Dr. James Kalonivaki, told the court today that Alievu's body was eaten by rats and ants when it was brought to the pathology lab. He said there were bruises on her neck, cheek, forehead, and scalp, which are believed to have been caused by either a solid object or being hit with blunt force by a person's fist or knee. The witness told the court that there are 70% chances that victims in such cases aren't able to survive. The doctor confirmed Alievu died because of hemorrhaging, which happens when a person struggles to breathe. He also said there were multiple bruises on the victim's abdominal and her private parts. In other revelations, the court was told that Dolonandolu allegedly abducted and raped 3 other women in the same community over 18 years. They came forward and reported the matter when police started investigating the death of Mere Alievu. The first alleged victim became pregnant and gave birth to Dolonandolu's child. It's expected the 3 victims will take stand next week. Shireen Shivan, FBC News.
With an aim to produce more than 200,000 tons of sugar this year, the Fiji Sugar Corporation is looking at upgrading all sugar mills. Board Chair Vishnu Mohan says they want to start with basics like providing better agriculture equipment and getting more harvesters to produce quality cane. Kelly Vadala reports.
Some of the sugar mills have been around for more than 50 years, and FSC wants to ensure they all remain functional.
We want to focus on the fundamental of the business, which is improving the cane production. And then produce sugar in a very low-cost, efficient manner. We need to modernize. Mechanization is key for bringing increasingly more harvesters, so focusing on putting in agricultural equipment. Improve the railway system. We need to improve the efficiency of these factories. There's a lot of wastages. Upkeep has been very poor over time, very sporadic. So we want to get to a position where everything is sustainable for an ongoing period. That's the only way we can improve the prospects of Fiji Sugar Corporation.
Earlier this week, Prime Minister Vorenke Bainimarama highlighted a new sugar mill will be constructed in Rakiraki to replace the old Penang mill. FSC Chief Executive Graham Clark says Fiji definitely needs a new mill and they're looking into this.
We need to recognize that it's been a tough couple of years. So we've tried wherever we can to get the factories in as good a state as possible for the cane to be crushed, because we have 2 million tons of cane to crush, which is more than they have seen for the last 3 or 4 years.
Clark says they are starting to sell sugar back to the Pacific Island markets and in Asian countries. The good quality of cane produced over the years has seen high demand. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
People living in the Western Division should expect a power outage on Sunday. FEA CEO Hasmukh Patel says this is required to replace the circuit breaker in Vunda and for maintenance of the 132 kilovolt power lines in Nandarivatu. Anna Ravulo has more.
Sunday's power outage in the West should only last 12 hours.
The areas is out, they will be out for 4 hours. Then after 4 hours, we will switch off another area and restore power supply to this area. So the maximum, you could be impacted is about 4 hours.
Patel says diesel generators will meet electricity demands for all customers from Namatakula to Waimathia in Raki. However, these diesel generators do not have ample capacity to meet all customers' demand.
There are some defects that need to be rectified. In the past few weeks, we have had a number of outages on that particular line, which have resulted in blackouts in the Western Division. We want to carry out some very urgent maintenance to reduce or curb down any future outages.
Work on both stations will begin at 6 a.m. and finish at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Anna Ravulo, FBC News. Tropical Cyclone Ella slightly intensified today, but is still a Category 2 system with winds up to 55 knots. Nandi Weather Office forecaster Stephen Meke says Tropical Cyclone Ella has moved slightly northwards and was located 305 kilometers northeast of Vikombia this afternoon.
Expected gradually move westward and dips west-southwest. On this focus track, Fiji Ella to slightly maybe maintain a Category 2 status and possibly move further north of Benua Levu than previously anticipated. So we expect Benua Levu and Vikombia to, at the moment, to expect strong winds, especially coming tonight and to tomorrow.
The salvage of the MV Southern Phoenix is expected to get underway from next week. Ports Corporation CEO Vijira Piasena told FBC News they're currently focusing on recovering containers after more than 30 cargo containers came loose from the vessel. Piasena says the full salvage team is now in Fiji and have used specialized equipment to access damage and assist with the removal of the ship. Meanwhile, Maritime Safety Authority CEO John Tunindao says 2 pollution experts have arrived from New Zealand and will assist the response team if major oil spills occurs. Investigation into what led to the ship sinking are ongoing.
But the ship is firmly embedded onto the shipbed. The booms, the team will be there 24/7 with all the stakeholders. The equipment will be made ready. If you see into our tent that has been erected in the spot on the Princess Wharf, booms, extra booms are there. We will also be getting ready all the skimmers. If there's anything that happens, then we are able to deploy these pumps as soon as possible to extract any pollution that may happen within the boom area.
Still to come, economic growth outlook remains buoyant. And Ratumans work on preserving their language. Details after the break.
Nimbula binaka na yalangunga andi moala rara na lika au tikonga na tau na singatoka ando talitaka na bakaronga na Bula FM number 2 na serre
ya dora subuli kurna bili iborani batukara hambara binanga do talitakina na bakaronga na Bula FM number 2 na serre
Bula FM number 2 na serre.
Finding incentives for people to invest in depressed areas is one way of providing job opportunities for those in need. This was highlighted by the Economy Minister while responding to questions raised by FNU students during a budget consultation this afternoon. Savida Thambor reports.
Most of the questions were about job opportunities brought to the attention of Economy Minister Ayaz Sayed Kayum.
Is there any budget from the government that could help us to stand, even if you are trying to look for work, it may be last for 6 months, 1 year?
So looking at the employment opportunities, right? Most of the students get job opportunities either in area like Suva, Nandi or Lotoga. Talking about the degree level. So has the Ministry of has the government have a proposed budget or having a plan to make development in infrastructure like sites like Rekreki side or Tagua side?
Syed Kayum assured participants that government has done all its best to create job opportunities, especially for new businesses.
So anybody that goes and sets up a business, those of you may know the Western Division, Drasa, Matawalu village, all the way from Matawalu village, all the way up through to Nasori. If you go and set up a business there, you can get up to 13 years tax-free holiday. So the reason why we've done that is we obviously want more business, more factories, manufacturing plants and other facilities to be set up in that area. So we keep the people there.
Syed Qayyum told participants issues raised by them and by FNU students in the West during consultations yesterday will be discussed by government. Sabara Tambua, FBC News.
The Fijian economy is expected to maintain its positive growth for 2017 and 2018. This was confirmed by the International Monetary Fund in its Asia-Pacific Regional Economic Outlook for May. It outlines Fiji's significant tourism sector, which benefited from the strength of the US dollar against the Australian and New Zealand dollars, as well as the rapid growth of Chinese tourism. Speaking at a budget consultation in Suva today, Economy Minister Syed Qayyum says things have been on track for the past 7 years.
The economy is expected to grow to about 3.6%. We expect that, in fact, probably be about 3.8%, with favourable growth prospects.
The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority is clamping down on businesses and individuals who falsely imply that they are registered for VAT by listing their tax identification number on invoices. Non-VAT registered persons are only allowed to issue a valid invoice when making a sale, but only VAT registered persons can issue tax invoices. FIRCA Chief Executive Viswanath Das says they shouldn't charge VAT and the invoice should clearly say VAT exclusive prices. Das says these businesses are not only defrauding customers but the Fijian government as well. And in one instance, the claim was more than the company's total sale for the month. Offenders have been warned they will be prosecuted and fined up to 300%. There are fears the Rotuman language could be dying out as people leave the island and lose touch with their heritage. The chairman of Fiji Rotuman Association, Posirio Furivai, says many have drifted away from their customs and it's important to teach the younger generation about their culture, especially in the 21st century. Kelly Vadala reports.
There are more than 8,000 Rotumans marking Rotuma Day today, a time of celebration and revival of their identity.
Our language has been in one of those critical stages of extinction. With every generation, we are losing the language. So I think it's important that we get together in this kind of functions to help revive that, to remind people the importance of their language and the culture, because I think language is a very important part of any culture. You lose the language, you lose your culture.
Suasemua ko Rotuma Afo O Takanam Org is this year's Rotuman Day theme, which means Row Forward Rotuma, a new era dawns. Hundreds of Rotumans gathered today at Funival Park in Suva with their handicrafts and root crops to celebrate the importance of their culture.
They should value the language, the culture, and they should let their children, educate their children.
We usually remember what our forefathers did for our island to also celebrate our culture with everyone.
The most precious day for me, it's one of its kind, thinking of the ancestors.
For Rotumans living in Suva, tomorrow's festivities will be held at Funival Park in Suva. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Later in sports, Jamie has the lowdown on snooker ratings, but before that, Edwin will be up with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Pulavinaka, coming up tonight, new senior level appointment at Fiji Airways. And in growing Fiji, we will be crossing over live to Nanonga, where a new and improved facility is being launched. Akosita Tale will have the details. Stay with us.
Bulavinaka, I'm Anare Sorbakroa of Nayabu Wenibuga Telebu. Whenever I want to tune in to listen to great music, I always tune in to my favorite radio station, Gold FM, only the classic.
My name is Lita. We love listening to Gold FM here at the Fiji Hideaway Resort and Spa. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
We here at Tano Waterfront Lautoka love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. Fiji Airways has announced the appointment of industry veteran Mark Cavalier as its Chief Marketing Officer. Cavalier, whose professional background includes 37 years in the airline industry, joins the Fiji Airways executive leadership team, reporting directly to the Chief Executive. His key areas of expertise include commercial strategy, marketing, sales management, e-commerce, distribution and collaborative tourism development. And we now turn to Elisa Pedi from HFC Bank for the latest on the market front.
Vinaka. The last update on our economic calendar for the week shows the Bank of England maintaining their interest rate at 0.25%. Meanwhile, the U.S. Producer Price Index data on Thursday showed that it rebounded more than expected last month. This led to the biggest annual gain in 5 years and suggests that inflation pressures are rising. The path for interest rates will remain a major focus amid growing bets for an increase from the U.S. Federal Reserve in June. Investors will get a detailed idea of the market when U.S. retail sales and inflation figures are released tomorrow. Political intrigue continues to roil Washington 2 days after the president abruptly fired the head of the FBI. The U.S. political turmoil will have an effect on investor appetites for risk and future expectations.
Thanks, Elisa Pedi. Looking at today's exchange rates, the Fijian dollar fell against the Chinese yuan to close at $3.21 and also dropped against the American dollar, closing at just over 46 cents. Around the region, the Australian dollar dropped slightly, closing at 62 cents, but the New Zealand dollar rose against the Fijian dollar above 67 cents. The PNG kina fell slightly to $1.29. And onto the commodities market, oil rose slightly to close at $47.77 a barrel. Gold was up, closing just over $1,223 an ounce, and silver up slightly to $16.33 an ounce. And in growing Fiji tonight, a revamped spa is being launched at the Outrigger Resort in Singatoka this hour. Akosita Tale is covering the event. Akosita, tell us why the need for this investment.
Thanks, Edwin. Bebe Spa has had a host of local and international awards and on average receives 20 to 30 bookings daily. We are now joined by Mr. Russell Blake, the resort manager. Mr. Blake, we understand the spa has had significantly contributed to the success of the resort. How important or why is there a need to invest in this?
Very important for us. As a five-star resort, it's very important for us to develop world-class facilities to entice guests to come and stay with us from all around the world, not only here to Outrigger Fiji Beach Resort, but to Fiji as an international destination. Not only that, we employ over 30 staff here at the Bembe Spa Sanctuary alone, and that provides tremendous support and strength to the local communities around us here on the Coral Coast. Looking forward, as part of a major refurbishment to the resort itself, Bembe Spa will undertake a major refurbishment as well over the next 2 to 3 years.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Now celebrations will continue tonight, and here we also have the Health Minister, Rosie Akbar, who is part of the celebrations. Back to you, Edwin.
And that's the week in business. Now to sports. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Okay, Edwin, and good evening. Up ahead in sports, Gareth Baber most likely to name 3 new caps. And new dates set for Fiji Fact. This and more coming up.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन तो बताओ कि मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
Vodafone Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber is likely to name 3 new players to his 13-member squad for the Paris tournament. While the Fiji Rugby Union hasn't yet confirmed the list, World Rugby has released the squad that will be in action this weekend. Paulan Rauni Sindukula, Samu Mbale and Glenn Dakautini are the new players on that list. Also included Amino Ninasilisila and Vatemo Ravavo, while Joshua Vakurinambili is the omitted 14th player. It's unclear though who the 13th will be, but it's likely to be one of the newbies. The Vodafone Flying Fijians have a chance to prove their worth in 5 test matches over the next 2 months. Coach John McKee says while there are certain aspects of their game they need to execute correctly, fans can still expect the same Fijian style of rugby in all 5 matches. The Flying Fijians face Australia, Scotland, Italy, Samoa and Tonga in June and July.
It's very important that we showcase ourselves and really showcase Fijian rugby. We're playing international rugby. A lot of people are watching, but we know there's core things in the game we need to do well, but we also want to show our ability and I think our competitive advantage as running players.
Meanwhile, Australia looks set to clash again with Wales and Fiji at Rugby World Cup 2019 in Japan. While some say the Wallabies have one of the easier pools for the competition, Coach Michael Checker says his focus is on his team and not the opposition. This story from Rugby Australia. After the Super Rugby game everyone's been waiting for, the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes. The 2 best attacking teams and 2 of the best defensive sides go at it in Christchurch tomorrow night. The new dates for the Vodafone Fiji FACT have been announced. The first round of pool games take place next Thursday at Nausori's Ratu Thakambau Park. There will be a break on Friday with the next 2 rounds played on Saturday and Sunday. The tournament was scheduled for this weekend but was postponed due to the current cyclone warning.
We took into account the weather, safety of people and generally the place safety as well. And it's unpredictable whether it will come or not come, but we have to take precaution, and this is why we have postponed the tournament for next week.
36 players will take part in the first National Snooker Ranking Tournament in Lautoka tomorrow. The competition will see the top players in the country competing for ranking points. It all begins at 9 a.m. at the South Seas Club.
This is first National Ranking Tournament. We start event this year from Lautoka side. I am expected number of 24, but people are showing too much interest. And I got the 36 number in this event.
Football's governing body, FIFA, is investigating last year's world record transfer fee for Frenchman Paul Pogba. His Italian agent, who's previously been in trouble for player transactions, is believed to have pocketed nearly $80 million after brokering Pogba's shift back to Manchester United. That's it from Sports Tonight. Join Angie later on with weather. And in the world of the weird and the wonderful, the story of a brave little girl who managed to free herself from an alligator. That's coming up.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo tikola ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuyazo sila tale, nagurara may naomanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu pinasabale po nagundurong barong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na ponga ni BNN.
While we in Fiji may not be too familiar with robocalls, this has become a nuisance in overseas countries. However, the question is, why does it keep on happening? Angie joins us now with the latest in weather.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. Tropical Cyclone Ella was located near northeast of Vicambia around midday today. Ella is traveling at 9 kilometers per hour. But to make the weekend even more relaxed, there's good news for the Lome Viti group and the eastern half of Viti Levu, as the strong wind warning that was previously in place has now been cancelled. Looking at today in the west, it was bright and sunny with humidity taking charge, but to cool the heat off, rain is likely for tonight. Eastwards from Pak Haba to Suva, warm, humid air spread out and is likely to turn into heavy showers by tonight. And up in Vanuatu, it was mostly cloudy with odd spots of rain, which is likely to become persistent later tonight. At sea, a strong wind warning still remains for all Fiji waters. And for the tides, the low tide tonight will be at 1:51 with a high tide tomorrow morning at 7:58. Sunrise will be at 6:24. For tomorrow, much of Vanuatu will have occasional showers, while the rest will have few odd spots of rain. Tomorrow's temps, Sabu Sabu will be the coolest at 28 degrees. Looking further on to Sunday, the weather is most likely to ease for much of the country, but bands of rain are more likely to affect the Northern Division. And that, Jackie, is FBC weather for tonight.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In the world of the weird and the wonderful, Juliana Osa was swimming in about 2 feet of water at a lake in Florida on Saturday when an alligator bit her. She fought off the alligator attack by prying open the 9-foot-long gator's mouth and freeing her leg. Fiji on Pulse today, we asked, who do you think will win the Paris Sevens?
I think Fiji will win because they prepare well.
Fiji will win the Paris Sevens this weekend. I think they've prepared well, so I'm sure they'll do well.
I'm going for Fiji this week, and hopefully we can bring it back. And born and bred Fiji, Fiji all the way.
Fiji gonna win because some new players there, and if new players play there, very good.
Fiji will definitely win this Paris Sevens tournament.
Recapping the main stories, high-profile trial of alleged serial rapist has begun. Tropical Cyclone Ella continues to hover north of Fiji, and Fiji Sugar Corporation wants to improve mills. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, will a Rambuka and Chaudhry coalition affect the NFP? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, tonight's shot of the day comes from bar taken by Sunil Nand at Tavarua village, where he captured the beautiful afternoon with rays of sunset hitting the clouds and amazing half moon all caught in one shot. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News, or you can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.
हमारा नाम संत कुमार है। हम रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनता है और ताबुआ में सबसे बेहाल रेडियो फीजी 2 है यार।
हम बिना विमलेश रकाविंदी ताबुआ से रेडियो फीजी 2 हमारा सबसे फेवरेट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम ब्रूस राव है, रकेरेकी मार्केट वेंडा और रेडियो फीजी 2 देश के धड़कन 1954 से हम सुनता है।
हम कबूली ताबुआ रहता है। हमारा नाम है रमेश चंद और हमारी मछली के धंधा है और हम सब टाइम रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनता है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।